The Department of Labor has efforts underway to identify problems with the unemployment insurance systems and determine how to fix those issues. $2 billion have been allocated from the American Rescue Plan Act. Michele Evermore is Deputy Director of Policy in the Office of Unemployment Insurance Modernization at the Department of Labor. Michele, welcome.
Good morning.
There was, as I mentioned, $2 billion allocated to the Department of Labor by the American Rescue Plan Act. What was that for?
So there are three goals for this money. First is to promote timeliness. The second is to promote equity. And the third is to fight fraud. And all three pillars of those are co-equal. We need to make sure that we're addressing all three of these pressing problems for claimants and for state workforce agencies.
So why are there 53 different systems that administer unemployment insurance benefits?
So in 1935, when the Social Security Act was written, the decision was made that each state should get to decide how to structure their own unemployment insurance system. So we've got 50 states, the District of Columbia, and 2 territories, the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, that all have their own unique systems with all of their own unique qualifications and benefit levels.
So will the funding be distributed to the states themselves for modernizing their own systems, or will your department be spearheading that initiative?
So some funding will be distributed to states. We've got 2 grant formulas. We've essentially got 3 grant formulas that will distribute money to states. The first is we've distributed, we've had an application process for fraud grants. We've developed a process for equity grants. The closing of the application process for equity grants doesn't end until December 31st. The equity grants are a brand new thing for the department, where states actually will develop their own plan for how they will identify equity issues, how they will measure success, and how they will spend the funds. So we're still working with states on developing a plan there. And the third will be grants to integrate the assistance that we've provided. So one of the streams of work is that we've launched this effort to send tiger teams to states, and these tiger teams will make recommendations within 8 to 12 weeks, and those recommendations then states will have to implement, but we're providing them $200 million in funding to integrate those recommendations.
Michele, explain a little bit more about the tiger teams. What are they made up of? What are they meant to do? Who's on them?
Great. Yeah. So the idea is states right now, we need long-term and short-term solutions. Tiger teams are very much the short-term quick win solutions that we can identify in states. And so we've sent tiger teams to 6 states already. We're on the second batch of 6 states. So what the tiger teams will do is review state systems and find process improvements that can be implemented quickly to improve timeliness, equity, and fight fraud. And on those teams, we'll have, of course, process experts who understand queue management and how to push people through a process. We'll have people who understand equity, fraud experts, subject matter experts in unemployment insurance, and also technology experts who can figure out how best to implement some of the suggestions that we're making.
There's $140 million that will go toward fraud prevention measures. How big of a problem has that been?
You know, I hate to say this, but fraud has been almost an existential threat to unemployment insurance in the past year. Somewhere around May, international fraud rings managed to dig their way into particularly pandemic unemployment benefits, and they show they are still persistent in attacking state unemployment insurance systems. So states need the best possible tools to deal with them. This is a relatively, well, in the past there have been massive, attacks on well, not massive, no. Historically, there have been attacks on unemployment insurance systems by fraud rings, but nowhere near the scale that we've seen in the pandemic. And their tactics just keep evolving. And so we need a central solution. This is one of the things we've heard most from states, is that they really need coordinated help in dealing with the fraud rings.
It's still early, but what have you been able to accomplish so far? And what have been the biggest challenges you're facing?
So I think the biggest challenge is the state of unemployment insurance in general. Trying to solve a problem in 53 different states with one central solution is never going to be easy. It's going to take years and years. But we've really gotten a solid start. I think the Tiger teams have already issued many. Have already come up with many good ideas that states are already starting to implement. I think the conversation around equity has evolved dramatically. I think people now are looking, states are really being creative in thinking about how to make sure that everybody has access to their systems. I'm so encouraged by what I'm hearing from states. So all of that is very exciting.
And what about timeline, Michele? What are we looking at for this to all be rolled out and for it to be done?
So the ARPA funds don't have an end date, and this is not a problem that evolved overnight. So this is not this won't be a problem that'll be solved overnight. We're looking at years to fix all these problems. One stream of work, the long-term stream of work, is to develop central modular solutions for unemployment insurance, and really building the tech centrally for states to modernize their systems. Obviously, individual state modernization efforts take years. Federal modernization efforts are going to take many years, and it's going to be difficult. But hopefully, at the end of it, we'll have a system that users are happy with, that frontline staff at state workforce agencies are happy with, and that get people through the system efficiently and without error.
All right, let's hope. Thank you so much, Michele, for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you.